Not only does Superman need to do good for DC Studios, but just in general, DC Studios needs quite a few things in order to just not only succeed, but to keep going. I'm going to be talking about those things. Got a couple talk points here, and we're just going to jump right into that type shit. But before we do that, for anybody that's new to my video or to my channel in general, just going to briefly explain what I do, who I am. As you see, I'm Dark Knight Bigelow. I like to talk about comic book movies, comic books, comic book video games in general, sometimes movies. Um, it's I just have so much shit to go on, and I don't have enough time during the day. So, I talk about what I can, relevant to me or to you guys. You know what I mean? And I'm not really that big. I just started. So, you're not really missing much. There's not really much that I've said. I'm not not anybody popular. So, but yeah, I'm not a YouTuber as well. I'm just a fan who likes to express his opinion. Because there's a lot of people who, they have questions or they have concerns that not many people share, if that makes sense. Not that they talk about. There's people that talk about it, but there's not many people are that are essentially me, if you will. Like I'm not going to say I'm the guy in the live streams asking the dumb questions. I'm not. I don't really watch live streams like that unless it's one of my friends or whatever the case may be. But like in terms of people that always have questions, thoughts, concerns, they're always just down to debate, always down to chat. That's kind of what I'm doing, even though you and I are not talking. You know what I mean. I guess you could say I'm more of the down. I try to be more down to earth instead of like you know the YouTuber esque. You know what I'm saying, boring ass intro type. Nah, like I want you guys to feel comfortable. Yeah, I'm saying just kick back and relax. Like if you couldn't tell this already, my videos aren't something that you have to watch in order to see some things. No, man, just play in the background. Do what you're doing. If you're playing your video games, you're doing your chores, whatever the case may be. It cool. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why I got Batman Arkham Knight instead of just talking with my mug in front of the goddamn camera that I don't have yet. I'm still waiting on that. So I hope that clears a little bit of things up. If there's any other questions, comments, or hit me in the DMs on Twitter at the real Bigelow. You can see my face, my name, Todd Bigelow's right there. Yeah, any support is appreciated, and I thank you for coming through. So one thing there's something I'm gonna start this off with this. I got like I say, I had a few talking points about what I believe DC Studios needs to exist. Okay, and start with number one, obviously. And for me, that is faith in and acknowledgement of the source material. It should go without saying that DC Comics has been grandstanding for generations now. And we know not everything is going to fit into play, or, not everything's going to get a play. There's things that were changed for the greater good or for worse. You know, for those who actually sat back, read this shit, and knows the history, you know what I'm talking about. But at the end of the day, there's still a lot of this shit with DC and Superman and Batman, Wonder Woman that deserves to have some acknowledgement and some recognition. And I believe some of these stories definitely should be told. On the story aspect, we'll get to that later. But in terms of DC and everybody running the ship for the movies and the shows and the games, what they need to do is have faith in what they are using and what they are utilizing. The comic books, they're not, it's not that they're goofy, but it's kind of like comparing it to everything else. And then like, you can read Watchmen, right? We all know Watchmen's gritty. It's not, this isn't no sunshines and rainbows, right? But if you show the panel to like some normie, they'll be like, "What the fuck is that? It's a comic book." Yeah, but and a technicality, it's a graphic novel, but you know what I mean. Um, you know, Not many people are interested in that type of stuff, so that's why you'll have the suits in Hollywood, or these other writers and directors in Hollywood think that, well, these people are not interested in this type of medium, so we're going to tell this from a from a film aspect. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to write this as if it's a film and not a comic book, and that's understandable. Don't write it like if it is a comic book, but you know, make sure that there's some acknowledgement there. You know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna use that, if you have source material to use it. That's what I'm saying. Um, don't Again, it doesn't have to be one for one. You don't have to put Gotham in the 1940s. Batman in purple gloves. You don't have to do that. But like, some acknowledgement in source material would be really nice. You know what I mean? Like, that's all I'm saying. Um, because again, there's not a lot of that going around. It only just now started happening because it's not that it was never acknowledged, but it was just in the way that it's been done. It was never done in a way that satisfied everybody. It always alienated the majority of the people, and then built a whole new fan base out of what they did. And I don't know, like, I guess I like their little unique charm for that, but it's just the movies cannot survive with that. And let's be real, if Superman fails, and they don't do anything of number one, that's not really good. But Superman really needs number four. We'll get to that later. But yeah. So, in my opinion, not even just my opinion, but this is also facts. It doesn't just go for DC. This goes for, again, any company that is, adapting an older story or universe to live action. Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, Marvel, all of that shit. Transformers, all that shit. Faith in and acknowledgement of the source material. They're done, get it, that's it. There's no arguing. There is no arguing. And if you don't like that, make your own fucking characters. Make your own Batman. Can't make Batman, but make your own fucking character. Make your own Batman movie. Because guess what? Trying to do something he doesn't do is not going to work. Just ask what happened with the fuck Ben Affleck. Just ask what happened with that. Mind you, I loved him. I loved this Batman. Shit, I even loved what he was doing in there. But does he do that? Kill and use guns? No. Has he done that? Yes, 100%. I mean, it's been almost 100 years since this guy was made. Yeah. Even in the beginning, he had a fucking 6-gun. But what's the core aspect of Batman now, right? Like, what's the core character that a lot of comic fans hate? Before we move on, the fact that he doesn't kill and use guns. You gotta have it. You gotta acknowledge that, and you gotta have faith in that. That's what it is. You want to have somebody else kill? Bring in the Red Hood. Moving on. Continuity, consistency. That's number 2. The biggest problem with the DCU, there was no continuity consistency. Now, any Snyder fan that came across, sorry, not fan, any Snyder cultist that came across my video and is already typing away in the comments, well, you see, Bigelow, no, he actually did. It was consistent. Yeah, BVS is supposed to be Man of Steel 2. We didn't get that. We got Man of Steel 2 with Batman in it in Doomsday. Superman died in the second movie. He comes back in the third. That's not consistent with continuity. Sorry to tell you. We didn't even see how Batman became how he got to this point. We didn't see a justification on why Joker's alive. It was all done by an exposition dump. No. No. That honestly, look, I consider myself a DCEU advocate. You could say I'm its fucking lawyer. Free. Pro bono, bitch. But here's something I am not going to back up. That canon. It is shit. Garbage. Horrible. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. It's not even just, it's unacceptable. Now, there's somebody who loves the Snyderverse, loves Zack Snyder's Justice League, preached and praised this fucking movie to everybody and their mother. All to no avail, But neither here or there. The DCEU was not consistent. How is the Snyder Cut not canon to the rest of the shit? Doesn't make sense. You have two versions of the same movie that claim to have different universes. Just that's bad. That's not consistent with the continuity that's been established with Man of Steel or BVS. Horrible. No. DC Studios needs to make sure they avoid that. You don't have to copy the MCU, but do something similar. Do the Iron Man movie, then maybe do a sequel, and then do the Cat movie. Because if y'all don't know, 2008 or 9, I think it was either 7, 8, or 9. That was Iron Man, and then Captain America: The First Avenger came out 2010 or 2011. And then sometime before or after, like I said, I could be wrong, before or after we got Iron Man 2. That's how you do it. You don't do Iron Man and then Civil War. You don't do that. That's just, you don't do that. No. So, yeah, continuity consistency. That's a big one that DC Studios needs to make sure they are tight leashed on. Tight lip. Oh, they better make sure y'all are. Listen, listen. Don't fuck with me. Do not fuck with me. I will pull this card fast, James. I'm not gonna lie to you. Look. I'm rooting for you. You know, I'm not even your fan, but I'm your fan. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm rooting for you. I want your Superman to win. But as soon as I smell inconsistency in your continuity, my boy, I am pulling your card faster than Barry Allen. I don't give a fuck. And I'm pulling everybody else's card too. Factuals. Number 2 is dead and moving on to number 3. More consistency, but more consistency with the characters and world interactions. Now, going back to DCU, consistent character, I mean, you can make arguments that the characters were consistent within each other, but let's be real, there's not enough there to make that argument that there is or isn't. But what we can say is that there's not enough, interactions with each other. Like Shazam has never interacted with Batman. He has interacted with Wonder Woman. He has interacted with what the fuck is her name? Harcourt? The bitch from Peacemaker? I'm sorry. I forgot her name. I'm sorry. He's talked to her and motherfucking Economos. That's really about it. Superman, headless Superman. But other than that, there's no it just there's not enough interactions there for, anybody to be convinced that that this shit was all in the same universe. You know what I mean? Like, it just didn't feel right. It genuinely didn't feel right. But in my opinion, the characters not consistent at all. Excuse me, I'm sorry. They were changing things or just doing other shit that didn't necessarily matter. You know what I mean? Like Wonder Woman and then Wonder Woman 1984. That is not the same character. I am sorry. Like, that is a big fucking jump and change from what that was. Like, that's like Justice League Batman levels of inconsistency with the character. So, yeah, stay consistent with what you do. Like, you want to make it to where you're like James Gunn, you want to make your Superman not as powerful, not somebody who can be beatable, right? Okay. Stand on that. Stand on your toes, motherfucker. Stand on that hill. Stand on business. Stand on business, because if you standing on ceremony is not going to work. All right. So you make sure you're consistent with that. But again, make sure you follow number 1 too. Faith in and acknowledgement of the source material. So, yeah. But be consistent with what you got. Don't just change it because people don't like it. Nah. Let it go. Let it rock. Don't change the suit now because it's got a very mixed reaction. Don't change it now. Let it rock. Because then people gonna know you're standing on business and shit is consistent. It is consistent. There's no need to do that. Is he gonna have new suits? Of course. But there's no need to go ahead and change the one he's wearing because people don't like it. No. You just gotta give him a new suit now. That's all it is. And I mean, hey, ain't nothing wrong with that. But yes, number 3, consistent character and world interactions. Yeah. If Batman and Superman are in the same world, the same timeline, the same universe, don't make them separate from each other. Fuck no. That don't make sense. Let them interact. Hell, let them team up sometimes, and then you get your world's finest movie. Because you can't just give us world's finest and then we got Superman and Batman Brave and the Bold to go off. No, no, it has to flow just right, just right. And that's why I say maybe sooner than we thought we might get a Justice League movie, but we shall see. We shall see. I'm not going to put my chips and cards on that. We'll just have to see. But yes, number three, consistent character and world interactions. 100%. Superman and Batman, Wonder Woman, they all need to interact, coexist, and be doing things with each other. Superman needs to be going to other places that's not just Metropolis or somewhere out of country. Like, he should be going to Star Labs or Gotham City for something. You know what I mean? He's done it in BVS. I'll acknowledge that. He's done it in BVS, but writing was not as good. It just, can't really watch that the same. We could do something else. We could try it again with something else, or again, bring them somewhere else like Star City or Central City. Because again, you can't do this big shared universe and then they're not going anywhere else or seeing anything else but just what's in their lore. It just doesn't make sense. And last and at least final talking point for me, and we've already kind of dibble dabbled on this early in the video, but good stories and storytelling. Key important to any story you're doing. I don't care if it's Hansel and Gretel. Bro, the story needs to be great. You cannot just say Hansel and Gretel walked outside, they went on an adventure, and then went home. The end. No, nigga. What the fuck? That is not a good story. But the actual story that's written out, explaining and showing or, telling what the fuck is going on, that's a story. You know what I mean? Now, if you can tell that a different way, but still be good with it, that's also good storytelling. Don't try to change things up, but just, if you could tell that story in a different way, but still be faithful to what it is, cool. 100%. We encourage you to do that, as a matter of fact. But again, if there's something that was just not there before and, you want to add it in, but you're not sure if it's going to flow well with everybody, maybe don't add it in. It would be better to tell us as a concept thing. It's better to essentially be like, oh, you rather have the reaction of, oh, why didn't you do that? Than, oh, why the fuck did you put this in here? That is not what this I'm telling you. It's much better than to have this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, uh, I cannot stress it enough. I'm sorry. Good story and good storytelling. You cannot, I don't care what you have. I don't care if this Superman is the greatest Superman of all time. We already got that Christopher Reeve, right? Look, and he's got 4 movies. Look at this. You can watch 1 and 2, right? 1 and 2 is great because of what it does. 3 and 4 is not the greatest because it's not the enemies that they use, it's how they tell these stories and how the shit looks. They didn't really think that hard. They just wanted Richard Pryor in Superman 3. And then they wanted, Superman going to the moon, fighting some random dude that's just handing him his ass. But at that time, there was nobody from DC that could, take on Superman of that nature. So they thought that would be better. But it wasn't. It wasn't. So, and I mean, let's also be real. Let's look at it like this. Here's another example. Dragon Ball Evolution. I'm not even going to show the picture. I'm not even going to do it. Listen, though. There's a sheer difference, though, in quality when it comes to the live-action Dragon Ball movie, which is what I just said, and then regular Dragon Ball, like, or Dragon Ball Z from, the anime. And, it's clear that in there, story's not good. The story is not good. It's more than just the characters not looking like themselves. The story sucks. And that's already bad. That's horrible. If you have a bad story, you're done. You are done. You need a good story to survive, bro. Why do you think Guardians of the Galaxy? Y'all didn't think you will look at this team and be like, oh shit. Well, what the fuck? Like some walking tree, a talking raccoon, some guy who listens to 80s music from Missouri all day, Dave Batista. I mean, who doesn't want that? But, really look at the shit. Like, you know, you would have never thought that these guys have good stories. But, sit back and actually watch it. I'm not saying it's the best story, but it's a damn good story. And all I'm saying is, again, DC Studios needs that. But if you're just somebody who just wants to tell a story, you're writing a book or a comic book story, always make sure that your story and your storytelling is key to what you're doing. Even if you're writing a book about Hippo and the grasshopper, taking a trip together, as long as you're telling the story right and it's a good story, you will succeed. That book will succeed. But these are my talking points for what DC needs to do in order to succeed. Faith in and acknowledgement of the source material, continuity, consistency, consistent character and world interactions, good stories, and good storytelling. I think that's going to be it for me. What do y'all think? Is there more you want to add? Did I miss some shit? I know I did, but I want to talk about these more than anything. So, yeah, I mean, y'all let me know what you think. Any support is appreciated. I hope you have a good Friday today. And if I ain't forgetting nothing, if that's all is all is well. Have a great week. Wow. Have a great weekend. And I'll see you in Gotham.